Okay, well, welcome everybody. My clock says 1:40 p.m., so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me, first of all, just introduce myself. My name is Darryl Jacobs. I'm a integrated marketing advisor with AlphaMedia. We are radio stations all across the country. I'm in Saginaw, Michigan. We have 5 great local radio stations. About 3.5 years ago, we were owned by Media, and we were bought out by AlphaMedia, and AlphaMedia brought in a whole bunch of new products to us available to help our clients with. And one of them was a whole bunch of digital products. And so in the last 3.5 years, I have spent a lot of time working with the digital products, and almost half of my business now that I help my clients with is with digital marketing. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I only have one slide, and so we're going to go ahead and get started with that. If you have questions, what I'd like to do is just cover them at the end. I might cover them in the middle, and if I get distracted, I might forget to tell you something. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat session, in the chat box, and then at the end of the meeting, we will have time for some questions and answers. And if you don't have a lot of questions, well, I have a lot of frequently asked questions that I get asked a lot. So we'll go from there. All right, so let me just shrink this up a bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm not going to look at the chats as they come along until the end. So we'll get started right at the top. Now more than ever, you need to have a digital presence. It's not enough anymore right now that you just have a website. You guys will notice I talk a lot with my hands, so sorry about that if it really distracts you. But so a website's not enough anymore. You know, you got to have a good website. Absolutely, it's got to be up to date, relevant, all those kind of things. But you need to make sure that people know how to get to your website, know where your website is. And so, you know, in the past, we'd spend a lot of time, effort, and money on mass marketing, radio, television, billboards, whatever. And but now we know that a lot of people, and especially now with the whole COVID thing, a lot of people are spending more and more time online. And so you need to have a presence there. And in the past, it wasn't available for smaller companies to do this. You know, the larger companies have been doing this for a while, you know, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, whatever, the car companies. But in the recent history, companies have now figured out how we can help even smaller businesses have a real good presence on the web. And today we're going to talk about those things. I read this just yesterday. It said, according to Da Vinci Payments, 71% of U.S. adults plan to do more than half of their holiday shopping online this year. In the past, we've done a lot of shopping online. I read something recently that in April, when the whole COVID thing happened, there were days in April that people spent more buying more online than they did on Black Friday last year. So, you know, we're online. We're there, we're buying stuff, we're looking stuff up, we're figuring stuff out. You know, who would ever thought you just go online, you pick the food you want from Walmart, and then they set a time and you go pick it up and they bring it to your car. I mean, that's the way to shop. That's what I like. So today we're going to talk about digital advertising as part of digital marketing. And for today, well, first of all, this slide, listen, there's nothing on here that isn't public information. So if you want to take a picture of it, I don't know if you can figure out how to take a snapshot of it. If you want, my email is on there, darryl.jacobs@alphamediausa.com. Shoot me an email. I'll send you a copy of it. I'd really like you guys to take some notes today, because I'm going to talk about some words that you might have heard, really not knowing what they are. And so we will get into all of that. All right, so if we start across the top, digital advertising. And today we're going to use the definition is these are the ads that follow you around the internet. Okay, you've all looked up shoes or car parts or whatever, camera equipment, and then all of a sudden for the next 3 weeks, everywhere you go on the internet, whether it's on websites or apps, you are being delivered ads concerning those things you looked up, shoes or clothes or camera equipment. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being able to use ads that can find that will reach the right people in the right place at the right time. Now, this isn't mass marketing where you're reaching all these people. We're going to show you how you can use targeted display advertising to reach certain people you can pull down by demographic and geographic locations and deliver the ads only to those people. So you look across the top and it says mobile. So these are ads that you can send to people directly on their cellular phones, their smartphones, or while they're in websites or while they're on apps. Your ad can follow them. If you're trying to reach that person, you can send the ad to them. Next to it is display. So you can have your ads sent to someone as they're on their laptop, as they're using their desktop, their tablets. You can send your ads to them if that's where they're at. As we continue across the top, video. You can send your ads as people are watching videos on YouTube. You can have your ads placed at the beginning of the YouTube video, in the middle of the YouTube video. We can place your ads there if that's where you want to be. The last one is OTT/CTV. So OTT stands for over-the-top television. Okay, so a lot of people have what we call cut the cord, right? And so they don't have satellite and they don't have cable TV anymore, but they're watching the local stations, and then they use apps to watch tons of other stations for free. So some of you might be familiar with Roku or Apple TV. Those are just apps. So if you are watching television using Roku and you're watching some rerun of the Andy Griffith Show, and all of a sudden you start seeing ads, that's what we're talking about. We can place those ads for you on Roku television. You can do that now. So how do we do it? Well, the first thing we do is, let's take a look at the top. It says, ads can be targeted to custom audiences based on demographic information, geographic information, location data from their GPS on their smartphones, and on and offline demographic data. So let's start with the first one, demographic data. So like I talked about earlier, where mass advertising or mass media reaches a wide audience, we can now take that audience and shrink it. So if you are trying to reach women between 25 and 45, well, then we'll start delivering your ads to just that demographic. If you want to reach women between 25 and 45 who have children in their household and they have a car lease that's up in 6 months, we can do that too. So you determine who it is you're trying to reach, and now we can laser focus or target them with the geographic information. I'm sorry, with the demographic information. If you want to reach men between 30 and 40 who play golf and who like to hunt and fish, we can do that too. The more narrow you can target your audience, the more we can target your message just to reach them. All right. I'm going to say something, and it's kind of funny. I think it's funny, but the internet knows everything about you. But the internet doesn't know everything about you. And so what I mean, I'll say it one more time. The internet knows everything about you, but the internet doesn't know everything about you. So the internet tracks information. It tracks you, where you go, what sites you are, how long you're there, what articles you're reading. It's tracking all of that information and it's storing it. And so when some advertiser is looking for men 40 to 50 who like to golf, it goes out there and it starts searching for men that have gone to golf websites and men that have looked up stories about golfing and men that buy golf clubs. And it takes all that information and says, hey, this guy is a person that you really want to, this person is very interested in the stuff that you have to offer. Now, the internet doesn't know everything because there are some things that the internet just doesn't know. So we have access to that information also. So this is offline information. So we get this information from the credit card companies, from the Secretary of State, other government agencies, and that's information that the internet doesn't know, but we can also find that information. And as I go through some of the tactics, you can see how and when we would use such information. The next thing we can do is we can deliver ads by geographic information. So we can send ads to people that just live in Michigan, or just live in Midland, Michigan, or just live on Coolidge Drive in Midland, Michigan, or just 48642 in Michigan. We can do it by congressional district. We can set the parameter however you want it to. Okay, if you don't need to reach everybody in Michigan, then we can set that parameter to a smaller area. You decide. Location data. Location data is, we can track where people are visiting physically. So if you're trying to reach people that shop at Walmart, we can do that. We can track people and serve your ads to people who shop at Walmart. If you're trying to reach, if you're one golf course and you want to reach the people that golf at a different golf course, we can do that too. Okay, and that's called geofencing, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. And then I already touched base on the offline data. That's information that we get outside of the internet that we'll use at certain times. All right, well, I was just going to see if there's any chat, okay, whoa, no questions. Wow, you guys are great. All right, so if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, and then at the end, I will answer it, or you can just save it for the end. That's fine too. Okay, so we talked about where you can deliver digital ads, how we do it, and then the specific tactics that we use to do it is what we'll get into next. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is geofencing. So a geofence is a you can draw a line around a business that you want to capture the information of the people that walk in there with their smartphones. Okay, so say you want to geofence Walmart. So we would put a box around Walmart, either just the store or just the parking lot, or the parking lot and the store. It doesn't matter. We can put this box around Walmart, and then as people start entering the store with their phone, it's going to start to track them. Okay, so when it recognizes them as someone who is in your demographic, who you're looking to reach, and now they're in a place that you're targeting, we can start sending your ads to them. That's how digital marketing, digital advertising works. Now, the really cool thing about this is you can also do what's called a conversion zone. So let me explain it to you. I have a client that they sell high-end granite and marble countertops, okay? And so what they do is we geofence their competitors. So if someone goes into a competitor of theirs that also sells the same product, we want that person to see their ad. Now, also, we geofence what we call feeder companies. So not necessarily competitors, but real estate offices. So because real estate agents do a lot with homeowners, and sometimes they suggest they fix up something or whatever before they're gonna sell their house. So they want the real estate agent to know to get their ad also. So the way the conversion zone works is somebody walks into the competitor's business. Then what we do is we start sending them your ad. And then even if they don't click on the ad, but they come into your store, we know that they came into your store. That's a conversion. They went into a competitor, then they saw your ad because it was delivered to them, and then they came into your store. We know how many people went from each competitor to your store or from the feeder businesses. All of that is tracked. All of that is tracked. All right, so we understand geofencing. You can geofence any building or area that you want. You just can't geofence anything that involves children under 13 and under. So you can't geofence an elementary school or something like that. That's off limits. All right, addressable geofencing. The way addressable geofencing works is, think of it like digital direct mail, okay? So we can use your list or my list. So I have a client, they're in the banking industry, and they know over the years how many people have purchased loans with them, car loans. And so what they can do is, say that person hasn't had a car loan in 6 years. There's a whole bunch of them. They have a list of thousands of people that haven't had car loans in many years. What we can do now is we can take that list and we can start sending ads directly to those houses digitally. Okay, so we basically put a geofence around each one of those houses. So it might be your house, but not the house next door to you. And it might be someone 3 or 4 houses down from you. We will start sending your ad. You determine how many ads you want send a day to that house. So if you have 1,000 houses on your list and we send out 3 ads a day, that would use up 3,000 ads every single day. Now, kind of a side note is that our computers and our smartphones, they all speak with each other. So if they see the ad on their smartphone, then once they get into their, regular daily life, it's going to start talking to the laptop and to the desktop. And so you might originally get the ad sent to your house, but you might see an ad 3 days later at work on your work laptop, because they speak to each other. Okay. All right. My list. Okay. Say you don't have a list. You don't have a list of people that have bought products from you in the past. That's where we use offline information. So you say, Darryl, we are trying to reach people that live in Midland, Michigan, that are veterans and that have lived there for more than 20 years and don't have any children living at home, because we want to invite them to this event. So we can go into the system and you can pull up exactly those people and where their addresses are in Midland, Michigan, or whatever location you want, by city, by state, by zip code. Okay. Now, we don't know their names, but we know that that's not allowed. But we do know where their houses are. And we can start sending your ads using a list that we created. And the variables are, there's literally thousands of them. Financial, physical, the house style, children, if they're Republican or Democrat, the list just goes on. We can find out lots of information. All right, let's discuss MLS. That's the next thing on there. So MLS, those of you who are familiar with the real estate industry, that's the multi-listing service. That's where if you put your house up for sale, they put it in this multi-listing so that all the real estate agents can see your home for sale, not just the people that work in that real estate office. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with addressable geofencing, I have a client who owns a high-end furniture store, and very, very, very expensive, like $10,000 couches. Okay, so what they do is they are attracted to people that buy a certain type of house. So we only are targeting people that buy houses that are $400,000 and above. So whenever a house is listed on the MLS system that's $400,000 above, if you walk into that house, whether you're a real estate agent or someone looking for a house, for a home, then we will start sending you the ad for this furniture company. It's been very, very successful. Again, you're targeting just a specific group of people that will tend to purchase the items that you have to sell or go to your event or whatever it is you're doing. All right, so a couple more tactics that we have. Okay, site retargeting. This is one that it just makes sense. If you want to know if you're being targeted on the internet, just start visiting websites. So each website, if you're being retargeted, once you go to the website, they're going to start sending you reminders or ads about their website. The internet says that there's basically 97% of the people visit your website one time. So if they come to your website, we want to keep sending them your ads to remind them to keep coming back. Okay, we want those people to come back to your website. That's why your website has to be current, relevant, those kind of things, pleasing to the eye, those kind of things. All right, websites browsed online. So this is, we use this tactic because If you're selling cars and we want to attract the people that have been to other car sites, okay? Because if they've been to other car sites, then we want to send them your ad because we want to put your ad in front of them because they probably are looking for a car and we want them to come to your site. The one that most people are familiar with is keywords in search. That's the tactic we use. You know, if you're a plumber and you're selling hot water heaters, each time someone goes on the internet and searches hot water heaters, you want to make sure that we send them your ad. Okay, when they need a hot water heater, they need one right now, and so there might be 500 places in Midland, Michigan that they can buy it from, but you want to make sure that we send them your ad so that you show up. Same thing with search, keywords in search. Mobile to social. So mobile to social is kind of a neat tactic. So let's go back to the geofencing. You walk into a place that's been geofenced, and then you start receiving their ad on your mobile phone. If you have mobile to social, if you have Facebook, all of a sudden your smartphone's going to go, hey, I have Facebook too. And so now they're going to start sending your ad, since it's been delivered on the internet through your smartphone, like through an app or through a website. Now it's going to start sending it to your Facebook. So it's going to start targeting your Facebook also. So those are the main tactics that marketers use for digital advertising. As you look to the right, you can see all the different way you can, send it through television. We talked about the OTT, the over the top, through laptops, tablets, cell phones, desktops. These ads are sent all over wherever you go on the internet, that's where you're going to find them. The really unique thing about this is you and I don't go to the same websites and apps every day, okay? So that's why these are following people wherever they're at. I might never go to ESPN.com. And if I only had ads sent to ESPN, I would never see it. But with these type of ads, they follow me wherever I'm at, okay? Had a client of mine, and she goes, Darryl, I've seen our ads on the internet. And I'm like, you have? Oh, wow, okay. Do you live within 5 miles of your store? And she goes, I do. And I said, oh, well, great, because that's part of the geographic location. They only want to reach people that live within 5 miles of their location. And so I said, oh, and you're between 18 and 65, right? And she goes, yes. And I'm like, okay, good, because that's the demographic who they're trying to reach. 18 to 65 who live within 5 miles of any of their locations. And I said, well, where did you see it? And she looks at me and she kind of bows her head a little bit, and she goes, Words with Friends. So she saw the ad someplace where I've never been. I've never been on Words with Friends, but that's where she saw the ad. So that's how these work. They follow you around no matter where you're at. If you also look to the right, you'll see these are just a handful of some of the ads that I've done for some clients. I've done them for restaurants. You can see different expos, banks and credit unions, nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, hospitals, restaurants, furniture stores, lots of retail, just about everything you can think of. I've helped clients with. Let me take a quick drink. Okay. The one that's flashing, that's just a GIF, okay? So they can be flashing, or what we call animated, or they can just be static. Those 4 sizes that you see there, those are the predominant sizes that are used across the internet. So if you run a campaign, you will have all 4 of those sizes, because no matter where people are at on the internet, whether it's on their phone or it's sized to the page that they're at. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. Okay. We're not the only company that offers digital advertising. All of these tactics and stuff is what not all of them, but most of the really good digital marketing companies will offer. These are the kind of things that you want to have. You don't just have to choose one tactic. We do multiple tactics, all within the same campaign. Couple of things just before we end up here. Let's see. Oh, yes, I've been talking for a half an hour. Wow. Okay. Last couple of things. You see on the bottom there, it says Snap Tool. This is a tool that we use at our company here with AlphaMedia, but it's just a Google tool. You can go on Google and you can find the same information. Mine is just a little bit more developed for us. But basically the way a Snap tool works, or the Google tool, which is free, you can go on Google and find the same information. You basically type in some keywords. So like last January, one of my clients is a plumber, and he asked me, he goes, well, I really like this, but what am I going to advertise? I'm a plumber. And I said, well, what do you like to sell? And he says, I like to sell those hot water heaters that are waterless. They're not the big ones. They're like a small square kind of a thing. And I said, okay. So I typed in hot water heaters sold near me. And I live in Midland, Michigan. And it came up that in December of 2019, so this would have just been the month before, that 3,000 people had looked up the word hot water heater in Midland, Michigan. So I went to him and I said, hey, did you sell 3,000 hot water heaters? And he goes, no. And I said, well, did you get a lot of calls? And he goes, well, we got some. I said, well, 3,000 people looked up the word hot water heater in Midland, Michigan. We started advertising hot water heaters for him in January. So that's the kind of information that, maybe you're not sure what people are looking up. You can go into Google and find out in your area how many people are looking up certain words or phrases. The last one is a leads generation. This is something that's relatively new out there. There are certain programs that you can purchase where if someone clicks on your ad when they see it, the company that runs this program can scrape off their email address. And then what they'll do is they'll continue to send your ads to these people really heavy for the next 7 days. And if they click on your ad again, that becomes a hot lead. And so, if somebody clicked on your ad the first time, they might not, just curious. But if they click on it twice in 7 days, they're probably a little more serious. And those are people that you can follow up because you will now know their email address. So that's kind of a neat thing, just a little side note. So I think that's it. I'm gonna make sure I covered everything. Yeah, okay, so it's 2:15. We got a little bit of time, so let me see if there's any questions. Woohoo! All right, I'll start with the older ones. So you can target people based on their habits or location. Absolutely, on both separately. So I had a client that wanted to target women with children who attend baseball games. So we put a geofence around the Great Lakes loons. And so we were able to target that person specifically. Yes, so yes, location and habits, for sure. All right, on which platform do you typically use for geofencing? On which platform? Okay, I'm not really sure what that means. So we use geofencing for many campaigns. With geofencing, you can have conversion zones. You can know how many people are going into your competitor stores and then coming to yours. We use geofencing a lot. So it's been a little harder since the COVID, but we still can use the geofencing. Let me tell you one more thing about geofencing. Take a look at this. We work with, there's 2 companies across the United States that do something what's called a look back feature. So what they've been doing is they've been collecting data for years of all kinds of locations. So I work with a university, and university, so it's actually a college. So I work with a college, and colleges spend a lot of money, time, and effort on recruiting high school students. So what this look back feature can do is, if you're a university, probably 80% of your students or a college come from 20% of the high schools. Okay, you get kids from all over the world, but you can look through who's registering at your college, and you can see there's probably 20 to 40 high schools where they come from. What we can do with the look back feature is we can look back at what phones were in that high school last year. We can do this up to 2 years. So now, if you're trying to reach students at certain high schools, we can go back and pull up the information that the kids that were there, and now we can pull up the kids that were here now, and the ones that are missing are probably the ones that already graduated. We can take those out and start reaching all the kids that went to that high school and start sending them your ad for your university and college. This is very successful. There are multiple colleges that and universities we work with, and we have white papers that can describe everything we're doing, and it's been very successful. All right, let's see. Look back feature. Yes, you can do them at the same time as well. Oh, somebody else is already answering questions. That's good. All right. What social media platform is best for geofencing? Facebook, Instagram. So we use the internet. We don't use a lot of social media for our geofencing. Now we do use the mobile to social. So again, if you're trying to reach people that are go to Walmart, then we'll geofence Walmart. And as they walk into Walmart, now we'll start sending them your ad. And if they're connected to Facebook, then we can start sending your ad to them on Facebook also. But we know we use the internet and the web, not so much but we can do complete campaigns also on social media. Absolutely. All right, is there a program for geofencing? How would I start a geofence? So there's not a program. You would just either contact, whoever does your local digital marketing, or you can contact me, and we can sit down and talk about, who you're geofencing, what you want to get out of the campaign, all that kind of information. Very easy. These campaigns usually take about 3 days to get done, to get started. And most of that time is just coming up with an ad for you and the places you want to geo-target and the geographical information and the demographic information. So typically these things can get started relatively quick. I like the questions. Anything else? Well, I'll keep talking then. So a lot of people ask me, like, okay, so how much does this cost, right? That's the $1 million question. So these programs do cost, but I think they're very efficient, and I don't believe they cost a whole lot with what you get. So basically, they're sold by impressions. So impressions is an ad, and it's an impression is every time that an ad is delivered, that's one impression. And so we typically start with 100,000 impressions. That's just a starting point where we can start having a discussion. So for my company personally, 100,000 impressions is $1,000. So, and we're very competitive. I think if you checked anywhere else around, it's going to be about the same price. I don't think anybody's like, $50, or no one's like 7,000. I think you're going to find it's very, very competitive out there. So, and so now the next question is, well, Darryl, is 100,000, that sounds like a lot. Well, you got to remember that the typical person as of last year saw 70 ads a day. So we see lots of ads as we're trolling through the internet. And so you got to make sure you have enough ads to reach enough people. And so basically that's where I come in. And, it's kind of like the guy that says, I want to advertise for my restaurant. And I say, okay, well, who's your customer? And he laughs at me and he says, everybody that eats. Well, yes, everybody that eats could be his customer, but he's not going to be able to afford to reach everybody that eats. And so he needs to figure out who he's trying to reach. So I ask him, do you want your ads to reach kids? And he goes, well, no. And I said, well, don't kids eat? And he goes, well, they do. But they just come into my restaurant and they order one pop and they keep getting free refills and they take up table space. And I'm like, okay, so that's not your target audience. And I said, well, how about older people? And he goes, oh, no. I said, well, older people eat? And he says, no, they just come in and they just sit down and they order the cheap senior citizens coffee. And then they just sit there and they take up a table and they share a meal and they get the lunch size. And I said, okay, so who is your target market? Oh, well, it's, adults between 25 and 65. I'm like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So we need to spend time really honing in on who your audience is. And then so we can deliver your message to the right people at the right time and in the right place. The right place is wherever they're at on the internet. So, okay. Any other questions? All right, let me see if I covered everything. I covered how long it takes. I covered the cost of doing them. All the artwork and everything is typically done by whoever the marketing company that is doing your They typically do all the graphic design. It's typically included in the price of your impressions. I've done campaigns where, they have 50,000 impressions. I have clients that use 500,000 impressions every month. So from one end of the spectrum to the other. Very easy to get started. Very, very, very successful. I told you about my client who sells granite and marble countertops and how we geofence his competitors and other feeder organizations. And so the very first month that he did something with me, we geofenced a home show. And he didn't go to the home show. You guys have been to the home shows. You got home builders, are setting up their booths, and you walk around and you talk to them. And he didn't go to the home show, but I showed him how we could geofence the home show. And then everybody that went there for the next 30 days, we would send his ad to them. Okay. And so at the end of the 30 days, we saw how many people attended the home show and then went to his store. And at the end of that first month, 70 people had went to his store that had went to the home show. And so then I asked him, I said, okay, do you think you sell 1 out of every 10 clients that come to your store? And he said, yeah, I sell at least 1 out of 10. I said, okay. So his average sell for his store is $5,000. That's what it costs on average to put his merchandise in your house. So if we sent 70 people to his store that came to the home show and he sells 1 out of 10, that means 7 sales that month came directly from the home show. And he made $35,000 from the people that attended that home show. Now, he probably made more. I don't know how many he sells, and I don't know the exact amount of his average sell. He might just tell me what I want to hear. But we do know that geofencing works, and we can show you with the conversion zones how many people are actually doing it. The end of the month reporting is very important. So all of these campaigns are really cool. Who you're trying to reach and where they're at and the geofencing and the keywords. But at the end of the month, if you're working with somebody, you need to make sure that they get with you and explain to you what your campaign did. And that way you can know you've been geofencing one store and nobody that went there came to your store. Well, guess what? Let's not geofence them anymore. Let's put your impressions to somebody else. And so we can take a look at your campaigns, and then we can go from there and make some changes. And that's what you really need to do with the person who's helping you with your digital marketing. Is that everybody? Yeah, I think I got them all. All right, well, if there's no other questions, I know you're about 15 minutes early. No, 10 minutes early. You're about 10 minutes early. So I'll give you back 10 minutes of your day. My email address is on there. If you want a copy of this, like I said, there's no proprietary information on there. If you have any questions, please just reach out to me. Even if we don't work together, if you work with somebody else, that's okay. I love working with clients on their digital marketing. Like I said, I have clients all over the state. I have clients now all over the country. Like I said, we're basically 5 radio stations in the Saginaw area. And but I now have clients everywhere because we're not stuck to just the local area where the radio station reaches. So with that, I will end the session and hope to talk to some of you in the future. Again, reach out to me if you have any questions. All right, have a great day.